Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live. I'm here with one of BB Canada 3's beloved house guests. He was one of my preseason favorite picks for very shallow reasons, other than the fact that he had a lot of promise, and that is because he followed me on Twitter. So, without further delay, I give you Jordan. Hi.
How's it going, guys? Mike, thanks for having me on, man, and thank you for the kind words. And I'm sorry I let you down. I think that I also was my own preseason pick, and a little bit of my face. So as we all know, but thanks for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
Okay, so let's start with this. You said let us down. Who do you feel like you let down? The BB community, the RHAP community, your parents, yourself? Who do you feel like you let down most?
That's a really tough question. I just think that, in general, as a super fan going in there, I felt like it was my job to kind of like represent the fans and be there for the hardcore fans, super fans, people who, like you said, RHAP, I'm a huge Rob as a podcast fan. So all of those guys, I was really hoping to represent all of them. And then, yeah, just like live feeders, hardcore super fans, I felt like I had a duty, and that was to represent you guys, and I failed in that. So yeah, I feel like it sucks. I feel like I let you guys down, and I did my best, but everything happens for a reason, and hopefully you guys will forgive me in the end. But it is what it is.
I think you're being way too hard on yourself, and it's such a buzzkill because you did. We'll get to your eviction a little bit later, but I think you're being a little too hard on yourself because this was a crazy season, and I think we can all agree on that. Just tell me a little bit, just briefly about, because you are a super fan of Big Brother. How long have you been a fan? When did it start? How much of a fan are you of the show?
Well, for me, I think with Big Brother, for a lot of super fans, a lot of people who just like reality television in general, I got into reality TV when Survivor first aired in 2000. So I was about 6 years old at the time, and Big Brother 1 was on. I watched a little bit of it with my parents, and it just didn't really stick with me. So then Big Brother 2 came on. There was all these new changes and stuff. And I started watching it with them as a little kid because that's what little kids do, and ever since then I just fell in love and have been hooked ever since. So I've been a Big Brother fan since 2001. So for me, getting the
so that is hardcore. That is really, really hardcore, and I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
So props to you.
Thank you.
Is this the first time you auditioned for Big Brother Canada?
No. So I auditioned for season 1 and for season 2 as well as this season. So it took me 3 times. Third time was a charm, and I got really lucky that they picked me this season.
And now that you're out of the house, what has surprised you the most since you've been acclimating to normal life post Big Brother?
Just like in terms of my life in general, or just like news I missed, or what specifically, or both?
Everything. Just what was it like coming home the first day? What did you do? What did you do the first time? The first time in your house?
It's crazy. Well, it's crazy, Mike, because you're living with the same people over and over and over again for 70 days, and then you just get thrown out into the real world, and it's like, okay, like, see you later. See how you, like, just have fun with it, and you kind of go off on your own and figure out what you want to do. As soon as I got home, I just spent a lot of time with my family. I think that I've never lived away from home for that long. So I kind of just hung out with them and just spent some good time just catching up and seeing how they're doing. And I haven't really done too much yet. It's just been like I'm slowly trying to get back into real life. I've been seeing friends and hanging out with them and stuff, but I haven't been going out too much or anything like that just because it's still a little bit overwhelming and everything's kind of new to me. So I'm just taking baby steps, and eventually I'll get there, but I'm feeling pretty good for the most part. And then in terms of like the thing that surprised me the most was that I was shocked that Zayn left One Direction. I couldn't believe that. Isn't that nuts? That blew my mind. I was like, holy crap, why would he leave? And I was so sad, and I cried a little bit. But other than that, nothing too crazy that blew my mind.
Okay, you lost me on One Direction, but okay. did anything else surprise you realistically? I don't think much happened.
No, nothing really crazy happened. I mean, like I'm a big sports fan, so some, stuff with the NFL and the NHL, that kind of surprised me a little bit. But in terms of pop culture, I mean, I knew.
Oh, Jesus, you missed Survivor's 31. Oh,
Second chances. I missed that entire thing, so I was really disappointed when I heard that. I missed the entire campaign and all. First, my mind was blown. I thought, like, you're telling me Jeff Varner and like Kimmy Kappenberg and some of the and Kelly Wigglesworth, all these people won. They're going back in Survivor, but not only are they going back in Survivor, there was like a fan vote. The public voted on it. I couldn't believe that. I thought when first of all, I thought it was nuts when Big Brother US did that for Big Brother 7 when they let the fans vote some of the cast in, but then when Survivor announced the whole cast,
the whole cast.
I was like, what? Like, how can you let America decide on that? I mean, casting should have at least had, in my opinion, they should have had at least a set group of people that they wanted for sure that they could put in and then let America vote on the rest. But hey, that's just me. I think Big Brother 7 was the way to go with that. But anyway, crazy.
That gets a big for me. And aside from Wu being and Joe, the cast really is incredible. But I digress. We're not here to talk about Survivor. But have you watched your season yet?
I have watched my season, yeah. So that was one of the first things that I did when I got home. I just figured, you know what? I'm going to rip it off like a Band-Aid, get it over with. And, I ripped through it in a couple days. So I'm glad that's over with.
And what are your thoughts on are your perceptions changed having watched it compared to living it? Or, I mean, because it's hard for me to relate.
Yeah. I hear you, Mike. Yeah, it's going from such a huge fan of the show and somebody who watches the feeds all the time and seeing all this stuff and then actually living it and then coming out and watching it on the show. I know that they have to make a television show and they have to produce it and they have to make, a week's worth of stuff into 3 hours of television a week. But it's weird watching the show and seeing how certain people are portrayed when I know them on a personal level. And it was interesting. It's a very cool and unique experience. And now I feel like I won't ever look at Big Brother quite the same again. So it was cool for sure watching it and a little bit weird though at the same time.
Who do you think, who do you think's portrayal was the most different from your experience of them in real life?
You know what? I think that,
and no one's watching, so you can throw a little shade here.
No, I'm not going to throw any shade. I think that I think Bobby on the show looks really dumb, and I love Bobby. He's actually a really smart guy. I got to know him really well in the jury house. He's a super nice and genuine guy. And the way that came across in the show for me, I thought, is that really the same Bobby? So he was a little bit different there. Peely, they made Peely look really like not too bright, which was unfortunate for me because I love Peely and she's so nice and so kind, and we didn't really get to see from my perspective, I don't think we really got to see that as a viewing audience on the show, because I don't want to I just love her to death. She's awesome on a personal level. So those two I think were a lot different I think on the show than they actually are for me, at least in my personal experiences with them in real life.
Yeah, I don't think, at least personally, that like with Peely, it's not that I feel like she's dumb. I feel like she's Big Brother dumb. Like didn't know much about. She wasn't very aware of the game. That's how it came across.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm in no position to judge her intelligence or anything. But and Bobby came across as dumb, but I was paying more attention to his bum because he's got a gorgeous one. But enough of that.
Hey, he's a great looking dude. Bobby's awesome.
What do you think of all the product placement during your season?
You know what? I think, Mike, that's just something that is part of Big Brother Canada. There's a ton of sponsorship, and I think that in terms of when you compare Big Brother Canada to Big Brother US obviously has very little of that sponsorship. But I think in order for Big Brother Canada to succeed and from production stance, at least is my point of view, I think they need that sponsorship. So, you know what? It is what it is. And honestly, I think that they did a good job of integrating this stuff in the show. That's my opinion. I mean, I don't know. I'm biased because I was on the
I
show.
fully agree because I think our house in the United States looks like crap and it's embarrassing. The Big Brother Canada house was the Four Seasons, and we have the Ramada equivalent. And I wish we could airlift your house into the United States. And I was taught, I think that they should take that back, that ugly backyard tarp in our house and just plaster it, make it a billboard.
Yeah.
Because upgrade our house. I think it's totally fine. And but have you tasted Twistos is the question.
I have. I've eaten a lot of Twistos. I'm not the biggest fan of some of those Twistos twisted.
I will, because I'm not in any, I have nothing to lose here. I don't like them. And I don't like some of their twists either. So
I think, for the record, I think they're good. They actually taste very good, and I gained some weight in Jury House eating lots of them. Yeah, not a big fan of some of those twists. They screwed over a lot of people. But you know what? That's Big Brother Canada. That's what they got to do. So if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do.
Next question. So you're in the house, and I want to just quickly bring up Sindy with an S. Did you go in for that kiss? Like, because I know you talked about how what in the diary room about it was like crossing off your bucket list. Did you think that it was one of those things where like you're meeting her at a bar and you're going to give her your number, but really just write down a wrong number and never see her again? Was that on your mind when you decided to do that?
Oh man, that's so funny, Mike. No, you know what? I think Sindy is gorgeous and she is super attractive. And as soon as she showed interest in me, I was just like, all right, this is awesome. I'm all over this. And you know what? At first, I didn't really get the best vibe from Sindy. And I think that, I didn't really get to know her that well on a personal level.
Neither did the audience.
Yeah, exactly, right? But I think that as I got to know Sindy on a personal level, and I think you guys got to see that a little bit on the show, her character evolve. I think that you see that she is a really kind-hearted, genuine person, and she's awesome. I love Sindy. I have nothing poor to say about her. And no, yeah, I mean, she's awesome. So as soon as she was on me, I was like, all right, this is great. I love this. And
as soon as she came back into that house, it was a total transformation. Like I suddenly wanted her. Like I was getting those Rachel Riley feels.
Yeah.
Like, because Sindy with an S came back with a V for vengeance, and I was living for it. But like most returning players, they're not long for the game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing with Big Brother. A lot of times when you see people go into the house, they go right back out. I mean, you saw that with Kaser and BB6. You see that with Brendan and Big Brother 13. Nicole, I mean, Judd went pretty far in 15, but Nicole went out pretty quick. It always happens. So there wasn't really much you could do. And she went out with a bang. She made a huge move. Probably one of the biggest moves of the season, and it made for some great television. So I tip my cap to Sindy. She did an awesome job.
I completely agree with you. I think it was really good, and I respect them for giving her immunity for the week that she came back, because that's sorely needed anytime they bring a juror back, a player back.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay. Let's get on to, the thing that you made history. One of the most anticipated moves, or the most anticipated nights of Big Brother in a long, long time. And that was the blindside of all blindsides. My question, because I'm sure you've been asked to death about, about this, but this is just the one thing I'm very curious about.
Mm-hmm.
In a season where you've already seen that a typical week of Big Brother is the exception, where there's basically like a twist every week, and not just a twist, like a game changer twist.
Yeah.
stuff that really just takes control out of everyone's hands, and it's more about producing good TV. Why, when you know that that's what they're up to, would you make a move putting yourself at that sort of risk, which would be risky enough in the US version?
Yeah.
What made you feel so bold to do it?
You know what? I think a part of what happened, Mike, was that early on in the game, Zach and I really, every single thing we did went right for us. We didn't have anything go wrong for us. We didn't really face any adversity. So basically we'd be like, hey, like, let's put this plan in place, and it would work every single time. So I just thought, you know what? I'm going to make this big move. As a super fan, I wanted to go down as one of the best players that ever played the game. I figured if this move worked, it would be epic. It would be awesome. And I figured that I thought I could do it. I thought I could get away with it. Now I was not thinking. You're in the house. You think you're in a good spot. And honestly, I thought I was in a good enough spot. Even if I stayed on the block post veto, which you saw, I stayed on the block. Zach didn't use it. I figured in. I didn't think. Well, first off, I didn't think there was any scenario in which the veto would not be used. Second of all, I thought that, okay, even if I do manage to stay on the block, I'm in good enough with everybody really in the house, because I had pretty good personal relationships with everybody. I knew everybody really well on a personal level. That was part of my strategy. I just figured, you know what? I think like it's worth the risk. If I felt like I owed it to Zach, because and that was the problem, is we were aligned with too many people at that point in the game that he didn't want to put anybody up as a pawn, because he knew it would make somebody incredibly upset. So I felt like because I didn't win that HOH, I had let him down. So I felt like, you know what? I'll take one for the team. I'll go up as a pawn. Just make sure you use the veto on me, and we know we're going to backdoor Bobby or Bruno. Didn't go through with the plan. It blew up in my face, and now I'm remembered as one of the worst players in the history of Big Brother Canada, and it sucks. But you know what? It is what it is, and I got to own it. So it was this incredibly stupid move, but the only thing I can say to any potential future Big Brother players watching this is just never get comfortable. Well, first off, just never volunteer to go on the block. That's the stupidest thing you could ever do.
The most important thing as a super fan, because you just never put yourself in a position of vulnerability, because in the event, because whenever you're feeling what could possibly go wrong, something is going to go wrong.
Yeah.
It will always go wrong. It always happens like that.
Oh yeah.
And even if it doesn't happen like that, eventually, and you should think to Big Brother 11 with Jesse. Anytime you're cruising through the game for a while, shit will happen. Because, I mean,
and it's hard. It's hard.
It's easy from here, from my position, to just say what's going on. But I don't think it was the stupidest move ever. I think it would have, it could have worked possibly under different circumstances, in a different cast. I think the only mistake, the critical mistake, was that you put yourself in a position of vulnerability. But whatever, it's done. The next question I have: would you rather have been evicted by your own gameplay, the way that you were, or stayed an extra 2 weeks and been the victim of a Twistos twist, like a triple eviction or a coup d'etat, something where you had, like with Kevin, where you just had, or Neha, or Risha, where you just had no fighting shot? What would hurt them? Because at least I would think you could live with this more, how you went out.
You know what, Mike? Believe it or not, I would rather have gone out by a Twistos twist or something like that, because at least, excuse me, if I would have gone home via triple eviction or an instant eviction or Brittany's magic powers, like what happened to Bruno, that sort of stuff, that's out of your control. You can't control any of that stuff. For me, I did it to myself, and it just, like, that was really crushing, and that was really hard for me to get over. I had 5 weeks in the jury house to kind of like unwind and get over the whole thing. And so now I'm at peace with it, but I definitely would have preferred to go out that way, because in that scenario, there's nothing I could have done. However, I am honored to go out in the fashion that I did because it's such a huge blindside. A lot of people are going to remember it for a long time. And as a super fan, you don't see a lot of big blindsides on Big Brother these days. So at least that is the one positive I can get out of it. And you know what? I just got to own it at this point.
I completely agree. That is not the answer I expected, but it makes a lot of sense, your answer. And that is cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
Now, when you found out the night that you were evicted, because I know that I was doing some major Jocasta side eye when I heard that you were going to be the first member of the jury. That would, because as a super fan, you know that juries don't start that early. When has there ever been a 10-person jury? What were you thinking when you heard this?
I was just shocked. I thought, like, okay, because Arissa said the person who will be evicted tonight will be the first person or the first member of the jury, and that's all I can say for now. So that made me think. I was like, okay, maybe there's got to be some sort of twist or something, and I figured, well, maybe just whatever. We're on Global this season. There's a bigger budget. They want to go 10-person jury. Canada's going to have a jury vote. That'll make it 11, and that'll make it so that way there's no tie. Or I thought perhaps there's a final 3. It'll be a 9-person jury, 3 people in the end. That was a theory that I held for a long time. Willow and I talked about that.
That's what we all thought too.
Yeah.
We all thought there'd be a final 3. I'm not sure if I feel like there might have been they were doing something to like give themselves wiggle room in the event that they. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was always the plan, or if there was some twist that was undone. Now, I know that your reaction to the blind side, you took it like a champ, which I applaud. We saw the multiple, do it again, please. But say something so the camera goes on.
Oh, okay. Oh no! What? Oh, ah! Like I had no idea. It was crazy.
So, but honestly, were you shitting a brick when that happened?
Oh yeah, of course. Like I was so. I mean, as soon as Arissa said by a vote of 5-4, I knew, oh, it's over, and I was just. I was just crushed. I was devastated because just like that, my dream was over. I was already making plans for the next week. I thought I was okay. Godfrey came up to me the night before in the pantry. He's like, yo, man, I just want to let you know it's all good, y'all. Send me home, y'all. And I was like, okay, cool. Like Godfrey's going home. Oh, I'm going to miss Godfrey so much. And then, no, it was me who went home. And that's why as soon as, I don't think they really grasped it too much on the show. But what happened was as soon as she announced it, Godfrey and I had decided that whoever got evicted was going to take a bagel out from the kitchen and eat it on stage because we were both have-nots. So I sprinted, grabbed the bagel, and sprinted out because I didn't know what else to do because I didn't know who had backstabbed me, who had turned on me. I didn't know if I wanted to hug anyone. I was just just a huge mix of emotions. And it was really hard, but I tried my best to put a smile on and enjoy it and take it all in stride, and that's what happened. So
Arissa pulled one of those sneaky Godfrey. You are safe.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure it must have felt like you were dying because you walked out and then you saw the face of God. And by God, I mean Arissa Cox. Can we talk about, God, I love me some Arissa Cox.
Arissa Cox is
like, if God had a face, what would it look like? And is it something that is similar to Arissa, do you think?
I definitely think it's something similar to Arissa. Arissa Cox is she's simply the best. She's awesome. I love her so much. I mean, she's gorgeous, but she's also incredibly humble. And I don't think, you guys don't get to see what Arissa's like behind the scenes and all that stuff, but just on a personal level, Arissa is just so freaking nice. She's awesome. And she doesn't need to be. If I looked like that, I'd be like, get out of here. Like, I don't want to deal with any of these people, but she is just awesome, the nicest person, and I just love her so much. I'm so grateful that she's the host of our show. She's awesome.
She tweets and interacts with all the fans during the season.
Yeah.
It's just incredible, and she really is a fan of the. I can't get enough of her. I love her, and yeah, she's anyone who interacts with the fans the way she does and gets excited with us. You know, love you, Arissa Cox. I love you.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Now, jury. What the hell did you do in jury for 5 weeks?
Well, for the first week, I was so depressed, and I'm a very emotional eater, so I just ate chocolate and ice cream and pizza for a week. And then Sindy came into the house, and we kind of just like hung out. We'd watch, watch movies, read books. I mean, I didn't really do too much. I slept a lot. I kind of just figured, you know what? When am I ever going to have the opportunity to sit around and be lazy for 5 weeks and do nothing? And at all for the rest of my life, never. So I'm going to take advantage of this now. So really, I didn't do too much, Mike. I mean, hung out with the guys. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's
Cindy came in the house.
Cindy came. Yeah, Sindy came into the house. We had some fun. We had some good talks, and yeah, I'll just say that.
Is that what they're calling it these days? Talks.
I'll just say what happens in jury house stays in jury house. But no, it was good. We had some fun. We had a good time.
Okay, this is another question similar to the one that I asked about, would you rather? If you had known that your jury vote wouldn't count, would you have still wanted to be in that jury house?
That's a really good question. I mean, really, I wasted.
I'm not here to ask you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. But yeah,
I'm kidding.
No, I know. Yeah, you know what? It's hard. I think on one hand, I would have loved to be home with my family and my friends during that time, but at the same time, and you know what? I did waste 5 weeks of my life, but at the same time, I got to hang out with all the cast. I got to really experience the entire Big Brother experience. I got to go in the house. I got to make jury. I got to hang out with those guys, be a part of the game still for a little bit. I got to be the first person ever to be voted out of the jury, which is awesome. And I'm honored that I have that crowned upon me now. And I got to experience the pre-jury part. I got voted out. I got to hang out with those guys for a little bit for a couple minutes. So even though it wasn't that long, but still. So I feel like my Big Brother experience kind of was like full circle. And as a super fan, my goal was to make the jury. Did I get voted out of the jury? Yes. But did I make jury? I still consider myself I consider that I made the jury. So you know what? It was all in good fun, and I'm glad that.
What happens to people who don't make jury? You're as a survivor and RHAP fan. What do we know happens to people who don't make the jury?
Oh, that they're not dateable. So yes. So now, Mike, I am dateable. So that's good.
Yeah.
That would have been terrible if I wasn't dateable anymore. I mean, I'm only 21.
You are officially dateable because you were a juror. I said because I know I was always of the opinion. I'm like, when I was talking to people on Twitter, I'm like, as a super fan, he's got to be loving this. I mean, it's a long time to be in jury, but I can't imagine you would have rather been at home watching it. I felt like you got the full experience, and you didn't know that your vote wasn't going to count. So
no, I had no idea. So, and you know what, too, Mike, is there's something to be said about building those relationships with your other evicted house guests in that jury house, because I mean, being in the Big Brother house, your time is really amplified because you're with them all the time. You're eating together, you're sleeping together, you're going to the bathroom together. Jury house is the same thing, but there's no game anymore. You're just like hanging out and having a good time and getting to know people on a personal level. So for me, getting to build those personal relationships with all of those guys was definitely worth it. So yeah, I'm glad. And yeah, as a super fan, like you said, I mean, I was loving it. It was awesome. So I got the whole experience.
I think also, without knowing what was going to happen to your vote, you were able to participate in the game talks and influence the outcome of the game. And in the end, your vote wouldn't have changed the outcome anyway. So
No.
it's kind of like oh well, it was a
Straight up.
formality. It was a
Yeah.
formality.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yeah, exactly. If it would have been like a close vote and that would have changed who won the game, now that would have been crazy. That would have been cool, but in the end,
that would have sucked. That would have really, especially if it was someone who you were going to vote for, or that would have been awful.
Yep.
But this season they had something that in the US version we certainly don't have. We had a lot of jury segments. I think we saw you every week or almost
yeah, quite a bit.
I think that was not accidental. I think that people wanted to see you, and you always had oh my God, it was a guaranteed, oh my God, I can't believe you were voted out. Oh my God. And that was good TV, and we all love good fucking TV.
Oh, we all love good TV.
What can you tell us? Because we, as a fan, you know that we all wish there were cameras in Jury House. Is there anything that is not, confidential, that anything interesting you might want to share that happened during your time in jury?
To be honest, nothing too crazy really happened. I mean, no, nothing really. I mean, there's some stuff obviously I can't say. I'll just tell you a funny story that did happen though, in Jury House for you guys. One day we were sitting in the hot tub. We'd all gotten haircuts right before the finale, and I went outside and everyone said, "Oh my gosh, Jordan, you look so good. This is like, you look awesome." And I was like, "Oh, thank you guys so much." And then Peely says, "Oh, you look like that guy from Spider-Man. Oh, what's his name? You know, that guy." And then Kevin says, "Oh, Tobey Maguire." And then she says, "No, Peter Parker." So she like, just like a little story like that. Pretty funny. I enjoyed it. Peely. So funny. Just the cutest story. It was hilarious. We all thought it was really funny. I don't know. You had to have been there in person. It was awesome. But other than that,
you want to know a cute story about Peely? Speaking of which, her brother was on Twitter, and he totally goofed on her like with the rest of us, and that was pretty awesome. But speaking of a hot tub, now that you bring it up, there was a lot of gay stuff going on this season. I know you didn't participate in it, but what was it like to see it?
There was nothing, like, it wasn't a big deal. I mean,
no, it was a fucking big deal.
Honestly. Well, no, you know what?
We were posting pictures, and like it was huge.
Well, you know what? We were just a lot of times, we're in there, we're just having a good time. So we're playing spin the bottle. If Kevin or Zach happen to land on Johnny, then Kevin or Zach land on Johnny, and that happens. Jury House, same stuff happened, even though we didn't have any gay guys in the Jury House. That happened a few times in jury too. So you know what? It is what it is. We had a fun time with it. No, we didn't. I don't think anybody really found it too weird. It was just, we're all good friends having a good time. And
it happened a few times in jury.
Yeah. We played some spin the bottle. There was some stuff. I won't get into it, but yeah, we had.
Do you know what is on my Amazon wish list at the top for my birthday?
What's that?
Being in a jacuzzi with Bobby and playing spin the bottle. And Kevin, too. I mean, it was really cool, to be honest. But if you're into that thing, it was really good. It was really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, it was fun to be a part of too. We all I think that's what was so good about our house, is everybody was just so like open to everything, and we were just like, hey, you know what? If people want to do that, like, why not? Let's just have a fun time and go with it.
Ooh, girl, it's getting hot in here. Any surprises about people, like who was walking in? Who did you think was was were you surprised who made it to the end? Just so we can get wrap this up in terms of the
Yeah,
Canadian.
yeah. I was surprised that because when I was in the game, Godfrey was sleeping and doing nothing, and he had just called out Zach and the showmances and said, "I want your blood on these hands." So I figured, okay, you know what? Godfrey's probably going to be joining me soon. So he surprised me in making the end. You know what? Ashley, based on the situation she was put in, having to win 3 power vetoes in a row, I was also quite surprised that she made the end, and she proved to be a competition beast. She did awesome. She's one of the, I think she's the first female in Big Brother North American history to win 3 consecutive power veto competitions. So she beasted out. So I was really proud of her. She did a great job. Sarah, I always thought Sarah would make it to the end. As soon as I got blindsided, I thought I was going to make it to the end, and then I got voted out. And as soon as I got voted out, I thought, you know what? Sarah's in a really good position. I could definitely see her going all the way. And she did, and she won the game. So she did a great job.
I love Sarah. It was one of those it's nice to have a winner that you were always, cheering for during the season, and it was really, really special to see her win, and I was really, really happy for her. And curious to know, who do you think, let's pretend there were no twists. I mean, as much as we can. Who do you think did play the best game and should have been at the end or should have won, or, and there's no shade into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Mike. It's a tough question. There's a lot of good game players on our season. Based on how things were going, I think if there weren't any twists, I think you would have saw Kevin in the end. I think Kevin had a really good game, and I think that he was so good just all around. He's just such a strong Big Brother player, socially, strategically, and physically and mentally in these competitions. Kevin's a beast. He's awesome. So I definitely think he probably would have made it to the final 3 or final 4 at least, if not final 2. And the other one is Bruno. I think Bruno is a phenomenal game player. He's a great strategist. He had a really good game. I was on to him the entire time. I knew Bruno had to go. I'm sure people watching the live feeds knew that. I was going home for Bruno. Hell, I volunteered to go on the block to get rid of Bruno.
Right.
So he's a great player. I called him the poor man's Dan Giesling when I was in the house, and I stand by that. He's a very solid player, strong. He gets to know people very well on a personal level, but he's willing to cut anybody at any time, and I think that's what makes him.
He definitely took me by surprise. I didn't expect it in preseason, but totally impressed me, and yeah. I think the production probably agrees with you about Kevin. I think he was the Jeff Schroeder of, he was like, he could hear the sound of bricks falling. They were shitting bricks in the control room. When they.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I take that back, because they had a triple eviction. How could they not know what was going to happen?
Yeah.
In the U.S., if that were a double eviction and they lost him, that's what you would have heard.
Yeah.
Anyway, I one question that was submitted by our mutual friend, Miss Chris, on Twitter.
Yes. Love Miss Chris.
I would love her too. She is awesome. What she wanted to know: why do you think most alliances that form on day one don't make it to the end?
Ooh, that's a good question. I just think it's so hard to find excuse me, to find somebody.
How dare you, Colin? How dare you?
It's hard to answer her question. It's hard, I think, when you make an alliance very early on in the game to to get a good read on somebody. So when you're making an alliance with somebody that early, a lot of times as the game progresses, Big Brother is such a long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And a lot of these people, you realize that you make these early alliances with, you figure out, ooh, actually, you know what? This isn't the kind of person that I thought this person was, or we're not really on quite the same page. So I think that a lot of times that's what happens. And I also think that a lot of these duos that form early, when people are on the same page, the pairs are quite obvious. People figure that out. They know people are working together. So it's harder to keep that a secret. And I think that that's why, people, so Zach and myself, everyone knew we were working together. So they wanted to split us up. Big Brother Canada 1, Peter and Alec are working together. Everybody knows that. They want to split them up. So that's why it's incredibly rare and incredibly tough for one of those alliances to go all the way. I think Cody and Derek, what they did in BB16, I mean, that was so impressive what they pulled off. And I mean, Derek Levasseur, I mean, unbelievable player. I think that's a big reason why. Yeah, it's really tough. Even look at Dan in Memphis. I mean, BB10, the Renegades, one of the most popular alliances ever. Those guys weren't day one. They formed that halfway through the game. If they would have formed that day one, could have been a different story.
Yeah, I think it's just too hard to, that's a good question to ask. Well, I mean, in the U.S. version, sometimes those first alliances do make it to the end. The thing in the Brigade, but I think when you have too much production intervention, too many twists, it's just too hard, too many variables that get in the way.
Yeah.
Who do you think deserves a second chance from your season? And you can, we'll skip you for now. Just anyone else besides you for right now that you think.
Well, first off, I don't think I deserve a second chance. There's so many better players than myself.
I agree. So no,
yeah,
I'm kidding.
yeah. No, I do though, Mike. So we don't need to talk about me. I'm not getting a call back. I know that, and I'm at peace with it. But in terms of who deserves,
excuse me. No, I disagree. I think if you're being humble, okay, fine. But I think you just, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree. In terms of who I think deserves another shot, I think for me, there's so many great people on our season. We had a lot of great personalities, a lot of great characters. But
actually,
if I had to say, I'll just mention a couple. Personally, I think I'd love to see everybody back, but I think Neha deserves another shot just because she got screwed so bad.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and really, for me, I think the people that deserve a second shot, the main ones, are people that got screwed by big twists. So Neha's the first one. I think you got to give Kevin another shot. I think Kevin was in such a good position. The only thing that could have screwed up his game was that triple eviction. And, how can you play defense against that? You can't. I mean, you can say the same thing about Willow, too. She got screwed by that. And Bruno, I think Bruno got screwed over by Brittany's magic powers. So those guys, I think they deserve another shot to play. But you know what? Everybody deserves another shot. Everybody's great.
I think Risha too, because
Risha too, absolutely. Because you guys had to vote people had to vote on her or Peely, and you didn't get any live feeds. It was one night of the show. Yeah, and Risha's great. She's awesome. I would love to see Risha play again. She is awesome. Yeah. So I would love to. She's awesome. So I would love to see Risha play again. Absolutely. Great television.
Let's go on to what everybody's most excited about. That is Big Brother 17, which is coming up. First, will you be watching it? And if your answer is no, I'm ending this interview right now.
Yeah, I'm good. No, of course not. I'm watching BB17. I have to at this point. I mean, I'm such a huge fan. I'm still consider myself to be a fan of the show. I just happen to be on Big Brother Canada one season. That doesn't change anything for me. I'm 100% going to watch it, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
What do you think of this 97-day season compared to what imagine if you were the jury.
Oh my God.
For that long. But what do you think about the length of the season compared to Canada's?
I think it's hard. It's a lot. I think that, it's just with how I've noticed that in recent seasons with how they're doing it, they're trying to make sure that the finale of Big Brother coincides with the premiere of Survivor. So it keeps going into late September. And I think that's why the days, and then they're also starting the premiere earlier. So hence the 97-day season. Personally, I think that's a little too long. That's a long time for Big Brother. I think 10 weeks, what we did, 70 days, that's perfect. I think that's an ideal season. Somewhat give or take a week. I think that's fine. If you want to go 80, fine, whatever. But 97, that's a long, long time. And
It
I
is.
think
It is. And
like
I think it limits who you can get to be on the show, because I would imagine it's hard to find people
oh,
who are
yeah,
just totally cool with, yeah, I've got 97 days to, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Now, what about twists? I thought last season had far too few, especially more, I'm thinking more like for the last 45 days of the season.
Yep.
But I think Big Brother Canada 3 had way too many twists in
Yeah.
the short. What do you think is the good balance?
It's hard, Mike. I think that for me personally, I'm more of a purist. I like Big Brother 10. Give me that kind of season. Back to basics, no twists. Throw them in a house and let them play. Obviously, I know that we're at the point in Big Brother in which we're not going to get that anymore. There's going to be some twists. So I think that yeah, it's hard. It's hard to find that there's a fine line between too many twists and for some people not enough twists. So I don't know. I think that with how Big Brother has been the last couple seasons, you see, 14 there's the coaches, 15 there's the MVP twist, 16 we have the battle of the block and the two HOHs. So it seems more they're going in the direction of like a set theme, and then every single week that's what it is, and then it's just going on with that. I personally would just prefer let them play, have a normal style season with one HOH, two nominees, and then maybe sprinkle in a few twists here or there. And maybe bring back Pandora's
Okay.
Box. We haven't seen
Yeah,
that in a couple of seasons.
yeah, I agree. But here's something to think about. What would Big Brother 10 have been like if there were no Dan Giesling? Because I know a lot of people say that, there are a lot of purists who want just back to basics, but sometimes you don't have a cast that I think
Is
can
capable, yeah,
can
as
can,
capable of
can
carrying a season.
deliver
Yeah,
can deliver a season
yeah,
of great gameplay. Or if you don't have a Dan Giesling, then what? That's why you kind of need some a little behind the scenes string pulling, in my
right.
opinion.
Right. And I understand that. And that's why I think that CBS and Grodner go in the direction they have been with these twists and these format changes and all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, I totally understand it. But, yeah, it's hard. I think that, like you said, like you don't want to have too many twists because then it kind of just people keep all the good players get knocked out that way. But then at the same time, if the cast can't really carry the season on their own, you don't want to have too few twists, if that makes sense. I totally agree with you in saying that in the end of 16 there wasn't enough twists. I mean, they had the rewind, but like, come on, like that.
God,
I hated
so
the
boring.
rewind. I hated the
So boring.
rewind.
Oh,
Yeah,
Derek was just such a phenomenal player that, yeah. I mean, we could say that for another chat. I want to because we're gonna have to cut this short, kind of like your time in the Big Brother house. um, so I
well,
would
good
like
one, very good one. I like
to
it.
finish giving you a shot at redemption, and to do that, we're going to play I've come up with a little HOH repeat of the one that you could have won and probably should have won. And if you had won, you wouldn't have been blindsided the way you did. So we're going
No,
to play before and after. Do you have your cards?
I have my cards here and here.
Okay, good. Now, this is how it's going to work. I am going to ask you a series of questions. The answer will either be before or after.
Okay.
At the end of the 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which is the duration of my sound, we will see if you have scored enough, if you have enough right to be crowned the HOH of this interview
All
and
right.
redeem yourself officially.
Thank you.
Do
Finally.
you understand the instructions? Are we ready?
Ready.
I'm just doing my Chen bot. And let's go. Question 1. Were you a have-not? Oh, were you a have-not for the first time before or after Kevin won HOH? Answers, please. The answer is before. Jordan,
All right,
you
there we
got that
go.
right.
All right, cool.
So far, we have Jordan 1. Okay, next question. 2. Did Risha enter the Big Brother Canada house before or after her breasts? Answers, please. Jordan, I need an answer. The correct answer is after. You got that right. Congratulations.
All right.
So far, 2 correct. Next question, 3. Was Neha evicted before or after Johnny won the POV? Answers, please. The correct answer is before. You are on a roll. Next question. Question 4. Were you following Miss Cleo BB on Twitter before or after Big Brother 3 started? Answers, please. The correct answer is before. Going on to question 5. Did Peely answer 2600 in a tiebreaker before or after you were evicted?
Oh, before, of course.
I don't know the answer. I just want to know if you saw it because it was fucking hilarious. So
funny. We grilled
question.
Peely forever about that.
Did you do this interview with Miss Cleo BB before or after your interview with Rob Sesternino on RHAP? Answers, please.
Well, I didn't exit the interview with him, but for the record, we'll just say officially before.
Noted. Just kidding. Just kidding. And with that, congratulations, Jordan. You are
Oh my God!
the
Oh my God! I finally! So happy. Okay, Bobby and Bruno are going on the block. This is gonna be a good week. Thank you so much. Shout out to everybody.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
Now
Mike.
you know you can't be blindsided. You've been redeemed.
Vindicated. Finally.
Vindicated. I want to thank you, Jordan, so much for joining me as a fellow BB super fan and an RHAP fan. I know you're going to be watching the upcoming season with us. I really appreciate you talking to me and to the people watching. You were very popular with us. We liked you a lot, and I hope you get a second shot. And I hope that this is not the last time we speak. And I hope that we can maybe do this again sometime during Big Brother 17 and talk about other people's gameplay.
Absolutely, Mike. Thank you so much for the kind words and for having me on. I really appreciate it. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. Let's do it again.
So tell people where they can find you on Twitter.
So you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Jordan Parhar. Instagram, the exact same thing, at Jordan Parhar. Tweet about Big Brother, reality TV shows, other things like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. And follow at Miss Cleo BB if you're like me before you go on Big Brother to get some favoritism, if you will.
Why, thank you very much, everybody. Yes, follow me at Miss Cleo BB. And have a great night. We'll see you soon and see you on Twitter.
Ginger
Goodbye,
Ninja
everybody.
604. Peace out.